In the aftermath of the 2024 presidential debate, Donald Trump claimed that Kamala Harris had lost very badly. His claim was later consented by the various polls conducted on the post-debate public reaction.
What did you see that brought you to a conclusion?
I think it's important to remember that we are voting for the leader of our country and not who we like the most or who we want in our wedding party, but who is actually going to make our country better. And we're in an incredibly unique situation where we've had both of the candidates in office before and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was higher, inflation was lower, things were better overall. And now with Kamala's administration, things haven't been so fantastic. And she's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
So I'm pretty disappointed that Kamala Harris didn't talk about what she has done as vice president. What has she done? We just don't know.
As we delve into the debate, the shifting political landscape, and the growing discontent with the current administration, the signs of Kamala's defeat in the upcoming election become increasingly clear. The 2024 presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump was a pivotal moment in the election. Harris, now the Democratic nominee, struggled to present a defensive case for her leadership, but she just tried to play with emotions through a vague rhetoric.
I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager.
Trump, on the other hand, was in his element, confidently critiquing the failures of the Biden-Harris administration and presenting himself as the only solution to the country's problems.
They're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again, and even better.
Economy. During the debate, Harris was challenged on her handling of inflation, job losses, and stagnant wages. Trump pointed out that under his administration, the economy had been stronger, and many voters resonated with his message of economic revival.
Immigration. Trump capitalized on Harris's role in managing the immigration crisis, a point of great dissatisfaction among voters in swing states. Harris struggled to defend her policies, which have led to record-high numbers of illegal border crossings. But she could not defend her reported gross negligence towards curbing the illegal border crossings.
Why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
The question was about the delay in stopping illegal immigration.
And now her totally different answer.
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Was he asking about the penalties on illegal immigration? Do comment about her response.
Foreign policy. Trump emphasized the failures of the Biden-Harris administration in managing international relations, particularly with China and Afghanistan, leaving Harris on the defensive.
I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of.
The debate performance only reinforced the belief among many that Harris is unprepared to lead the nation, and polling data following the debate showed a sharp decline in her approval ratings.
Which candidate has a slightly better than 50% chance of winning? And again, right now, my answer to that question is Donald Trump. Harris is just fundamentally a weaker candidate.
Well, I was seeing how Kamala Harris was trying to do what Biden did in 2020 and try and play herself as a moderate. But I see through that facade. She's not a moderate. She's a progressive just trying to get votes from independents. Like, for example, Biden was so neutral on immigration during the debates, but when he won for 3.5 years, he had the border open, and then once it came election time, then he closed it, and then they keep saying that the border was secure this whole time, and I don't think anything that she says is legitimate, that she legitimately thinks about this. Like, I have no clue what she stands for, because she's flipped up between what she said in the 2019-2020 debates and the 2024 debates right now. Also, what I don't like is that she didn't rebut anything on immigration about the people coming in.
To understand Kamala Harris's 2024 predicament, we must look at how the political landscape has evolved since the 2020 election.
2020 election results. Biden-Harris secured 306 electoral votes, narrowly flipping key swing states like Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. Their success was driven by a strong anti-Trump sentiment and widespread support for Biden's promise to unite the nation.
2024 projections. As of 2024, the Republican Party has regained significant ground. Polling data reveals that Harris is trailing in most swing states that were critical to Biden's victory in 2020.
Arizona. Once a narrow win for Biden, Arizona is projected to lean Republican due to dissatisfaction with the Biden-Harris handling of the border crisis.
Georgia. Republican support has surged, especially among suburban voters disillusioned by rising inflation and crime rates.
Pennsylvania. While the Rust Belt supported Biden in 2020, economic struggles have led many voters to reconsider their allegiance.
In contrast, Trump's message of economic stability and strong national security is resonating more powerfully in these battlegrounds.
Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have, and who's going to have higher prices, is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Kamala Harris's tenure as vice president has been marred by controversy and public dissatisfaction.
She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well.
Key caretakerial issues that have defined her time in office are now working against her. But before we dive deeper into these critical issues, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring you more in-depth content. Don't forget to like and drop your thoughts in the comments. The critical issues faced by the Biden-Kamala administration are reported to be self-created and a result of their gross negligence.
Economic failures. Inflation remains a persistent issue under the Biden-Harris administration. Despite promises to help working-class Americans, many feel that their quality of life has deteriorated. Rising food prices, gas costs, and stagnant wages have all contributed to voter frustration.
Immigration crisis. As the face of the Biden administration's immigration policy, Harris has been criticized for failing to secure the southern border. Voters in states like Arizona and Texas, in particular, are disappointed with her inability to curb illegal immigration, a key issue that Trump has stressed upon in his campaign.
Foreign policy missteps. Harris's involvement in major international issues, such as the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan and strained relations with key global powers, has further eroded confidence in her leadership abilities. The American public is reportedly concerned about the growth in incidents related to the reported failures of the Biden-Kamala administration.
Polling consistently shows that Harris's approval ratings lag behind Biden's, and these issues make it difficult for her to appeal to swing voters who are key to winning in 2024. Donald Trump's return to the political arena has energized the Republican base. Despite the controversies surrounding him, Trump has successfully positioned himself as the leader who can fix America's economic and social woes. His 2024 campaign focuses on
restoring economic stability. Trump promises to reinvigorate the economy by reducing taxes, promoting job creation, and reversing what he calls disastrous Democratic policies.
Immigration reform. Trump continues to advocate for stricter immigration controls, a message that resonates deeply with voters in states like Arizona and Texas, who feel abandoned by Harris's approach to the issue.
National security. Trump has emphasized his strong track record on national security and foreign policy, contrasting it with the perceived weakness of the Biden-Harris administration.
Kamala Harris faces an uphill battle. Her debate performance further highlighted the issues that have plagued her tenure as vice president, and voter confidence in her ability to lead the country has only continued to decline. Key factors contributing to her projected defeat include
economic discontent. With inflation and the cost of living remaining high, many Americans are seeking a change in leadership that can restore financial stability.
Immigration and national security. Voters are dissatisfied with Harris's handling of immigration and foreign policy, both of which are central to the 2024 election narrative.
Voter enthusiasm. Republicans, energized by Trump's return, are showing higher voter turnout projections in key swing states, while Democrats are struggling to mobilize their base, particularly younger and progressive voters.
As the numbers stand, Kamala Harris is unlikely to secure the key swing states that delivered Biden's victory in 2020. The disillusionment of independent voters and the growing Republican momentum indicate that Harris is on a path to defeat.
Kamala Harris may have fought her way to the 2024 debate stage, but the cracks in her candidacy have only grown deeper. With a faltering economy, dissatisfaction with immigration policies, and a resurgent Republican base, the future of Harris's campaign looks bleak. As Donald Trump rises once more, it's clear that Kamala Harris is facing what may be an insurmountable challenge in the 2024 election.
I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it?
Presented by the History Hunt. Like, subscribe, and comment to join us in exploring the most important moments in political history.